I'm going to go over the image control palette in greater detail. So just to go over the basics, in the bottom left hand corner there is a picture icon. If you press it, this will launch the image control palette. From here there's a gallery up at the top where you can load images. If you click the folder icon, it'll launch your picture selector. I'll pick an image, and you'll see that image was loaded in the gallery. Now if we want to load that image that we just selected into our draw image source, if we just click on that image, and you'll see that it loaded the image in the background, and that's the image that we will be drawing. So I'm going to go back to Jimi Hendrix, which is what I had previously loaded. And we've already gone over the drawing. That's very simple and basic. A lot of it's done for you. Sorry about that. This is the image repositioning, and all this stuff was covered in the overview video. But you can scale, rotate, reposition your image. After clicking this image position icon, you can do a simple flip, and there's a cancel, there's an opacity. But what I want to get to is the color map and the mask and the background. So I already have something loaded in my color map, but if you click on the color map slot, you'll see that the selection square moves over to color map, and I have an American flag loaded in there. Again, if you press directly on this icon, you can launch your gallery and you can select an image. I already have one loaded, so I'm not going to do that. So there's a little switch on the bottom of this control, and when you load an image, it automatically clicks that switch. But since I previously loaded this and shut it off, it went off. So if you click that, you'll see that now our color map is floating in our background canvas as well. So we can reposition this by clicking the image position toggle button, and we'll move the flag over Jimmy's face. Let's put the star over his eye. That'll probably be pretty cool. All right, so now we'll click the image position toggle button again. So now we can see two images on top of each other. So now when we start to draw, instead of using the selected dot color, it's going to be using the color maps color. So as we draw, the American flag is being mapped to the dots that are representing Jimmy's head and luscious hair. I'm gonna hide the draw image, and you can see, or I'm gonna hide the source images, and you can get a better look at what we're drawing. This is a pretty cool effect, and we can make it a little bit better if we invert our draw map, and that's done in the levels. So now you'll see, if we switch to a, say, like a dark background color, this should be pretty cool. We'll start to draw Jimi Hendrix in the American flag, maybe being symbolic of his epic performance of the Star-Spangled Banner. So, pretty cool. So that's how you use the color map, and you can always shut the color map off by hitting the toggle switch, and then in that case we would go back to just drawing the regular dots as we had it before. Now you might say, well, can I just draw my color map without drawing Jimmy? Well, of course you can. So if you go and click on the draw image and click the switch, it'll shut off your draw image. Now if you go back to color map and click the color map on, now we're only drawing the American flag. Now in this case, it's just drawing random dots that are based in between your max and min draw size. are your max and min dot size. So if we increase our max dot size to very large, and let's increase our min dot size to very large too, we'll have very big coarse dots. Now if we scale this down a little bit and keep drawing and then continue to scale it down, as we get tighter and tighter dots, it's a better and better representation of the color map source image that we're drawing, to the point where if you make the dots small enough, let's make the brush size a little bit bigger, it's near photographic. In fact, if you make them small enough, I would say it is photographic. It's almost drawing dots that are the size of a pixel anyway. So it's almost like the clone brush in Adobe Photoshop. So let's trash that, and I'm going to move on to the mask, but I'm going to keep that color, I'm going to keep the color map selected, and we'll move on to mask just to show you mask. Mask works very similar to the draw map, except that it's a hard cutoff. So you'll see I loaded this mandala image, and this is what it is. And as you draw, you'll see that the dots only fall within the dark spots of the mandala. Now this is a little bit different than your general draw image, because as I said, it's a flat cutoff. It doesn't scale the dots at all. It only affects the threshold. And that's why it's represented with a triangle. So when you have a mask loaded and you go to levels, you'll see that the mask slider is now selectable. Whereas if the mask is shut off, this is grayed out and you can't touch it. So as we scale this up or down, you'll see that more and more detail shows through, because the threshold is cut down, or the threshold is pulled down closer to white, so it's allowing more of the more dots to fall without getting cut off by the threshold setting. So we can combine all three of these. Let's see. Let's get Jimmy down in the mix. And what we'll end up with is a Jimi Hendrix American flag mandala. So let's see, we can probably do a little bit better. So yeah, this would take some tweaking, probably get some detail up in the hair area, but all of this is possible, and but let's take a look. And now this isn't the best example, but right now we have an image that represents three images, and it's all done with dots. So we have Jimi Hendrix, who's controlling the scale of the dots. We have the American flag, which is controlling the color of the dots, and we have the map itself, which is controlling the, let's call it, the framing of the dots. Now this is a pretty powerful set of tools that you have right there, and I think that you'll be able to do some pretty cool stuff with it. I know that I've done some cool stuff, but I often don't use the color map quite as much as I probably could. So finally, let's just talk about the background. The background is very simple. You load an image into the background, same as the other controls. Click it. Now you see we have a background image. So now if we draw, let's see what we have selected. We're still, dots are a little bit too big. Now we're drawing Jimi Hendrix. You can see his face start to form, but we have this background image. The background image, at first I thought that was kind of cheesy. You wouldn't want it, but then I thought, well, maybe you'd want some just like paper texture background to make some of your images look more authentic. But now I found that when I do my cloud drawings, if I just start out with like a cloud image to begin with and then just start painting the clouds on, I get what I like to think is a pretty authentic cloud drawing. I mean, as authentic as you can get for a cloud that looks like a skull. But I think that pretty much covers the basics. Actually, one more thing. If you do a reposition on any of your images and you want to save this reposition, so say you can use it for a different image slot, or say you can go back to it, what you do is if you go to the slot that is selected, the slot that has the back has the square outline on it, and you hold down that image, and you'll see that it popped in an extra set of skulls popped into my my image gallery up here at the top. So now if I wanted to say throw that image into the mask, it would be, let's shut that off. So now, I'm just confusing you. So now that that repositioning was thrown into my color mask slot. So it's an easy way to pass your repositioning back and forth in between your draw image, color map, mask, and background. And you'll find sometimes that only having 5 slots isn't enough. So I might have to find a better solution to that. Because once you start repositioning stuff and you start compositing, you might find that you're running out of room. So anyway, I think that covers everything. Thanks for listening. Thanks for testing.